Yo, what's up, guys? Short video. Hold on. It's like to 1 o'clock again. That's like some bullshit or something else. What do I want to look at today? Oh yeah, I was gonna look at this. I already watched this one, but yeah, we'll watch this one again. It's actually like, pretty cool.
Can't you see my heart?
Welcome to Captain Chord's version 2.
The reason for this is that you need a lot of experience with 3D printing. I've built a couple 3D printers, so this wasn't a terribly difficult project, but there were definitely a couple of snags that hit down the line. And so kind of the reasoning here is that if you've built a couple of 3D printers, you
For any human
printer.
is a place.
So you can't actually 3D print an entire 3D printer. You can 3D print the rails and some accessories like the spool holder and drag chain, but you can't 3D print the motors or electronics.
Yet.
Yeah, we're getting there, but we're not there yet. So how practical today is a 3D printed 3D printer? So this isn't going to be a full-fledged tutorial because
I mean, this guy
Reverbat,
doesn't
the
look
guy
like
who
Clark
made this design, has lots of instructions, and I will link to him on my website. But I am going to do a quick build montage, and then I'm going to assess this 3D printer.
Dr. D-Flow.
Yeah, creds to this guy.
To start this project off, we need to 3D print a lot. 200 plus hours of 3D printing. Good bed adhesion is super important for this project to prevent the 3D printed parts from warping, which would distort the linear motion of the 3D printer. The project consumed about 3 kilograms of filament, and I replaced my Kapton tape on my build platform every 1 kilogram. The name of this design is Snappy because all of the pieces snap together. This printer literally builds itself. Enjoy the build.
Already those motors. Whatever. I think it'd be so cool to have 3D printer. Even if it was cheap, I think it'd be cool to like make stuff. If I had a 3D printer, I'd probably like the first thing I'd make would be like a hand with the middle finger. Yeah, that'd be funny.
Nice. There you go. So it just snaps into place, you know? Snappy.
These guys must be like.
Looks. If you don't put it right up next to it, it looks pretty. It looks pretty vertical. Ouch. Oof. All right, so we should probably give them an update.
Yeah.
So, as you can probably tell, we broke this. So, you're gonna see us, we're gonna keep working on it and keep building it up, but we're gonna have to print this piece out. Okay. So the ball bearing's in it and it spins. And
That sucks.
this is the end cap, and I need the
I guess
hammer
that's
again.
like just
I think I'm gonna
one
name
that
this thing Hammy.
happens, Like when you build when you build it.
So
build it out.
I'm gonna try and explain this. I got some of these pieces covering it out. I don't know if you guys can see, but what the ball bearing does, it's called a smooth idler. So when the filament comes down this hole right here, this smooth ball bearing is gonna push the filament up against the hobble gear, which will grip the filament and push it down. And so this is just gonna snap over here, but we won't do that yet until we load the filament. And then we've got the fan assembly, which we're gonna do real quick.
So
And the Z-axis, which this is the centerpiece of the Z-axis. So this time I can actually have it going.
Yeah, they went through all the work to like stop making this thing. Was it working? No. Already know. Alright, I'll have a little quiz here. What do you guys think they're gonna make? Do you think they're gonna make a little gun? And they're gonna make a little house? They're gonna make a little kayak? Or do you think they're gonna make a boat? Or what's the difference between a boat and a kayak? I don't know. I'll just choose whatever. Boat.
A couple days ago, I printed off Vinci, and while the quality's okay, I thought I could improve it. So I went back in and I messed with the Marlin firmware, and I switched out my extruder twice, and now I think I'm getting much better adhesion between layers, which is going to result in a better surface finish. The big question that I posed at the beginning of this video was, can a 3D printer self-replicate? And remember when I broke this piece? Well, now I'm having it printed off, so we'll see if this could work as a viable replacement to that broken piece. Well, with this print to finish up, I'm going to go over the pros and cons of a 3D printed 3D printer. So first off, it is a miracle that this works so well for being made out of plastic. And this can be contributed to just the ingenuity behind the design. The design is, I love it, it's flawless. Most of it works pretty well. My only complaint
I wonder if
is
you did it
the
first try.
smooth idler and hobble gear mechanism, the mechanism that puts the pressure so that the filament is extruded. And I just found that the lash that was here previously was not applying enough
Look how cool. Look. How cool is it that you've got his YouTube name or whatever on the side of the printer?
force to
Cool.
allow the hobble gear to work correctly. So I was able to fix that with some rubber bands, but really you can't complain that much when it's an open source design. I could easily get into the program, the source files, and correct that mistake, and it'd be working flawlessly. The second pro, which I did not expect, was how quiet it is. And I can carry on a conversation with you while it's printing. My MakerGear M2 is actually louder than this guy. And so one of the reasons why I thought it was going to be so loud was friction. And so I was most worried about the friction between two rails, the interface. But I found with a little bit of lubrication, it actually works quite nicely. But you do have to apply lubrication quite often, which is kind of a con. Another pro is how customizable this printer is. Not only could I change the colors, but I could also increase the Z height, the X height. You know, I could make so many different adjustments to it. the last pro is that this project has great wire management, and while I may not have exploited it to its full potential, there are a lot of different routes I could take to seamlessly hide the wires to the ramp's motherboard. The major con is that it's made out of plastic, and I have to print very slowly, and I'm still seeing some missteps, but again, I don't want this to be a negative. This is truly an amazing invention, design, and I love it. So would I recommend for you to build this 3D printer or give it away as a gift to a friend? And probably not. The reason for this is that you need a lot of experience with 3D printing. I've built a couple 3D printers, so this wasn't a terribly difficult project, but there were definitely a couple of snags that hit down the line. And so kind of the reasoning here is that if you've built a couple of 3D printers, you probably own a 3D printer, which is going to have better precision than this guy. And I won't ever use this printer as my daily driver. I'm always going to use my MakerGear M2. But say you have a 3D printer, should you print this and give this to your friend so that he can have a 3D printer? And I would say no, because this requires constant calibration. You have to lubricate the tracks, and you are printing the filament that the machine is made out of. So you can literally melt the entire thing. I would not feel comfortable leaving this machine alone at home. And as you know, most prints take a couple of hours. So no, I would not recommend giving this to an inexperienced friend.
Actually comes out like pretty small. I thought it came out in like kind of big strands. I can see why it would take like a few hours.
Alright, so it's all finished, but first I'm going to remove this piece, hopefully without it breaking. Alright, so I removed this piece from right here and put it next to the 3D printed piece. So here's the part from the MakerGear M2, and here's the one we just printed. So side-by-side comparison, you can tell that, again, the MakerGear still has better surface finish. But besides that, they look like they might be the same dimensions, which is a great start. Okay, let's see if it fits. Alright, to be fair, we had to hammer the MakerGear part into, so... So it required a couple more hammer hits than the MakerGear, but we do have a pretty good connection, and it does function as it's supposed to. It is holding the Y-axis to the X-axis, which is awesome, and it still moves. So in this instance, the 3D printer could 3D print a replacement part, but do I think it can replace its own rails? No, because I do not think it can print a smooth enough finish on one rail, let alone a continuous finish across multiple rails when they are connected together. But still, this is a super awesome accomplishment. I know I keep using the word awesome, but I love this. I'm glad it worked.
Bro, crits to this
I'm
guy.
Dr. D-Flow.
So
Thanks for
cool.
watching.
Go subscribe to this guy's channel, because I'm using this video on my channel. Go ahead and subscribe to Dr. D-Flow. Look how cheap this printer is. Alright boys, that's it for today. I'm tired. Alright, good night guys, like and subscribe.